Life possible. Let us see nature as this mother that nurtures every single one of us with all we need to have the experiences to grow always. And with that in mind, we humbly ask permission to open our Sunday meeting this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, hopefully you guys are doing good. You're welcome. And so the topic today, what I try to do when I do my talk is to open the gospel according to Spiritism randomly, right? And try to get a topic. And today was actually is chapter 11 of the gospel, which is the most beautiful, actually, in my opinion, but the most difficult because it's where the love thy neighbor is, where it talks about the major commandment of Christianity. If you people talk a lot about Christianity and so on, but there's only one major commandment that people don't pay attention, right? There's only one: love God above all things, right, and love thy neighbor as yourself. That's the major commandment. Everything else is there to support us. And we sometimes focus on other things and you forget that the major commandment is that. And I was like, okay, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about this thing. To give us perspective. And it's difficult to talk about love. And you see why I mean that. Because it's something that we are, I think, if you look into our society, what we do is early days for us. We're all intelligent. I think if you think about intelligence, humans, we're very intelligent right now. I mean, think about the machines we already have around us and how much we have evolved in terms of technology, right? You don't need that. I mean, if you have still grandparents around or somebody that has been around for a long time, I've been around for a long time already, but I've seen in my own life, right? But I remember my grandpa telling me that he would take him 2-3 days to go to the next city when he was living in a small town in the south of Brazil, and it would take like a day or two for him to go to the next city. And I go to Brazil in one day, in less than one day, we go to another continent today, right? So things have changed. So now we can talk to anyone, anywhere. You guys, I mean, we think about that, but people used to go when the ships used to live, for a long trip. People, all the families would go, and you see those movies and people waving because they don't know if we'll see them again, right? When would you talk to them, right? Don't know, right? If you go for a long trip, right? Who knows? Maybe you'll never see you again, right? No, we talk to people anywhere, anytime. We have a video wherever you go. But imagine how much life has changed in terms of intelligence. This is intelligence. If you think about this is us, human beings, being able to create things and tools that make our life a lot easier. So clearly, intelligence is where we are right now in terms of evolution. So we are developing our intelligence. But in this place, we talk about something else that we are just starting. Because despite our intelligence, our planet, our society has a lot of suffering, has a lot of problems. One of the major problems we have right now in America is depression. We have all this technology, and we have a lot of pain and suffering, right? We're not happier. We're not happier than our parents and our grandparents. We're probably less happy today. Our lives are busier. We are incomplete. We're kind of empty. What gives if we have so much more help and yet we're not happier? And I think that's the segue to us spiritually, because truly what we are spiritual beings. But what does that mean, right? We believe we truly are spirits. We're souls, right, that are just going through the body right now in an experience that is supposed to make us grow. So we have all the experience. But what does that mean? For us, being a spirit means that we're not, whatever we're going through in the physical life right now, is just a part of it. And if I'm a spirit and you are a spirit, everybody else is a spirit. So the essence of spirit is what we all are. And that is not bound to the flesh. So none of us is bound to the flesh. So what's the real value we have here? What's the thing that will never transition, never change? People. Everything else we have right now around us is material, right? Our bodies, the money we have, the properties we have, all the resources we have right now, they're part of this life, this material life we're living right now. But the only thing right now with us here that will never go away, and that's the problem, are people. Because they're all spirits like me. If I'm a spirit, they are a spirit. I mean, if all of us are souls that don't die with the body, that's it. We continue. And we live our lives like people don't matter sometimes. How many people just live their lives focused on the material stuff? And I'm not saying the material stuff is not important. It is. It's important, right? That it has importance to accomplish things. But eventually, that's going to go away. What's not going to go away are people. And how many times we live as people are actually the least important thing around us. And that's why the gospel goes like this. The whole idea of the gospel is to change that perspective. That's why the major commandment of Christianity is love thy neighbor as yourself. It's not because it's a religious thing. It's not because it's a religious thing. It's not because it wants us to be religious. It's giving us a clear guidance that the important thing in life is people. That's it. We are here fundamentally to learn to be with people, to one another, because none of us is going to go away. And think about the relationships with people you might have. There's all kinds of, right? You can have a friendly relationship, competitive relationship. You can have all sorts of. No two people are the same, right? No two people are the same in the world. And now you think about all the people you know, right? You might have all sorts of ways of relating to people, right? But the gospel talks about one way specifically as the goal. The loving way. What does that mean? What does that mean, the loving way? Okay. The problem with the loving way is that, as you see, I struggle. I think the majority of us struggle because the loving way is a very special way of having a relationship. Because it's a way that you relate to others, not others relate to you. You control only your part, right? You only control your part. You don't control anybody else. By the way, I hope you guys discovered that already, right? We don't control anybody. They're all spirits. They're on their own, right? They have their own ideas. No matter how much, even if you're capable of loving deeply, you still don't control them. You control you. So we work on ourselves. And the gospel doesn't say the major commandments saying love God and be loved. The gospel says love God and love thy neighbor. You love. Right? It's funny because it's not saying for us to be loved because we don't control it. Can we control to be loved? It would be great, right? Wouldn't be flip a switch and everybody loves us? It would be amazing, right? But it's not how it works. Actually, quite the opposite. I control when I love. So love is this relationship where you, the lover, the one that loves, wants to do the best to the person you love. So you would do to them what you would have them do to you. That's the metric, right? Love is when I want this person that I love the best, to my understanding, because I have limitations. Maybe sometimes I may even be wrong. Maybe a loving person sometimes even wants something that's not the best, but it's honestly true in the heart. Because in my heart, when I see that person that I love, I want the best for them, as if it were to me. And there's a little problem with that. In many situations, the best for the person I love requires me to change, requires me to change my life, and sometimes to give up in things I want. Classical example, and one of the great opportunities of love we have in our society. Every time I read, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but there's once in a while there's an article in the media that gives you the cost of having a child. Have you seen those? There's no way you read one of those articles and you think about having a kid, right? So, and they, of course, they put the kid going to the best schools and so on. It's thousands upon thousands of dollars, right? If you add up, medical care, add up school, add up, all the stuff you have to do, right? That's one kid, right? Imagine 2, 3, 4, right? But unfortunately, parenthood forces you to make a sacrifice in your life. And that's why I ask my kids, by the way, I ask them, you guys gonna have kids, right? And they went, no. Both of them, no way I'm gonna have kids. Why not? You're so nice. No. But why? Why is that? I think they're wrong. I hope they're wrong. I hope they're gonna change their mind. But why? Because you bring that cute thing to your life in the beginning, and it's a relationship that doesn't go away. You cannot divorce your kids. And they come to your life, and that's it. And then, years and living together and raising and spending your energy and going. And when they grow up, who knows what they're going to be? Who knows? But that is the great experience for a parent. It's not everybody that can achieve that, but the experience of parenthood is one of the experiences that gives you the teachings of love. Because that's a situation where you have the opportunity. Not everybody does it. Not everybody connects with their kids. Sometimes not everybody even connects to parenthood. I have many people in my life that the parents couldn't do it. The parents were overwhelmed, and they couldn't do it. They just collapsed, right? Because it was too demanding, right? To be helpful in that situation. Many people have gone through that experience. Not everybody succeeds to being a parent in a life. Well, eventually we will. But if you succeed, what happens? That's the manifestation of love, because you're going to be doing the best you can for that person for the rest of your life. Do you need to be a parent to have love? Absolutely not. You have that for everyone. And here's the worst part. What the gospel tells us is that what you feel for a child is what one day, when we become evolved spirits, loving beings, light, we'll have for everybody. And here's the worst problem. We believe God, it's not a human, but we believe God is the essence of everything, is the supreme intelligence of the universe, but God is the supreme loving being of the universe. So which means God's incomprehensible for us. The vast majority of us here, I don't know about you, hopefully there's somebody here that's way ahead of us. But for me, loving 1 or 2 people, 3 people, 4 people is hard. It's hard. God is this infinite love and loved every single one of us. There's no exception. No matter what you did, no matter what you do in your life, no matter choices you can do, you can make your parents in this life mad. Very easy, right? Just don't do what they want, right? You can't do that with God. There's nothing you can do that will make God be mad with you. You're still going to face the consequences of what you do, but that's different. But, that's the laws are defined by God in an unchangeable way. That's why gravity is the way it is right now. Nobody can negotiate with gravity, right? Gravity pulls us down, and if you don't want it to work, or you ask God not to, turn off gravity for you, good luck. Never change. The laws are unchanging. But the love God has for you is unchanging and infinite. So which means all our relationships from God's perspective, all of us, we have almost 8 billion people on earth right now. From God's perspective, it's a business between 8 billion children of God. And here's the thing. If you had more than one kid, you have the experience of the kids fighting. Unless you're, I don't know, there's somebody that, unless you got blessed to 2 angels, but I don't think it's possible. I don't even, so, but if you have kids and you have 2, what happens to those kids? I'm guaranteed, if you have more than one, they're going to fight. At some point in time, they're going to disagree, and they're going to have, and it's hard, because sometimes they're both wrong or they're both right, and you have to get involved. How hard it is to get involved when your children fight, right? When 2 people you love fight. But get that. From God's perspective, all our conflicts are between his children. God loves every single one of us. But do you see the perspective? Every single one of us in this planet, every single one, no matter how bad the person you can imagine it is. And I think everybody here can think about someone, I don't know, this guy, no, that girl, no. He's not a son of God. It is. Why I tell you it is? The laws of nature work the same for them. The sun shines on them the same way it shines on you. Oxygen works the same in the body. Their chemistry is the same as ours. All the laws of nature that God created work exactly the same for them. Not a single exception. But do you understand that? When we learn that, when we start accumulating, when we start transition to that perspective, holistic perspective, happiness starts to form. Because we move away from our world, our little world, and understand that God will always guide us together, always see us as a family, and is always dealing with the conflict, no matter how painful they might be, no matter how difficult they might be, no matter how hard what I'm going through from my perspective right now, right? God will always see from the perspective of the family. And the lessons sometimes are not simple. They take a long time. We, of course, in Spiritism, obviously, we don't believe we have only one life. Obviously, for us, this is not the only life we're going to have. This is one of the many lives we have had before and the lives we're going to have ahead of us. There's many lives coming. Yes, we will live again in the flesh. Well, at some point in time, some spirits will get a point where they don't need this anymore, we believe, but the vast majority of us are far away from that. We will live again. And because my family, my wife is also Spiritist, and my kids grew up here, so our discussions are very weird. If we go to our house, we're negotiating the next life already. I'm telling them, my kids, no, next life, no. Not gonna put up with you next life. I'm gonna get a kid that has A's. And my little one tells me all the time, oh, no, next life, I'm gonna adopt you. And block your tablet. But it sounds silly, but it's not. We will have opportunities. And sometimes we will have to go through this whole life with a very steep limitation. I was thinking, in my family, I had one grand uncle, brother of my grandma, that had meningitis when he was very young. So his brain got damaged, right? So his mind, he was a very strong man. He was a very strong man. But his mind was 6 years old. So he was 6 years old. He stopped when he was 6 years old. And for him, I never thought about that until now. When I got older, I realized that, oh my goodness, my mom, my great grandma, my grandma, and my mom, 3 generations took care of him because he lived to be 70. He got to the 70 years. He was strong still at 7 years old, but with the mind of a 6 years old. And every time when I complain about my kids to my mentors or to my, and come this thing, okay, just look in your family. They have to take care. 3 generations have to take care. In my family, not everybody. I'm not going far. I'm not going to think about great cases of people that are suffering in other places. I'm not going that far. I'm just in my family, just going to my great uncle, right? And I realized, oh my goodness. And then I never thought about that when I was there. I actually, thanks God, I got along with him. I took care. I never made fun of him. I gave him a guitar once. So I got along with him. And now, thank you, God, that I behaved, that I was not, because imagine how much, suffering he went through, right? Of being a 6-year-old, right? But then I thought myself, that's the task they got. He has to live for 70 years with that damaged brain. I'm pretty sure if you go in your family, you're going to see examples way harder than yours. Just look around. Just go in your family. Just go in your family. Just go around. And you see how many people have to endure. But here's the good news. That's just one life. Just one life. And I know for us, it sounds like everything now. And I know it's heavy, right? Because it might be heavy right now. But here's the inspiration of God. You're not this life. You're much more than that. In fact, some of the hardest lives we go through, when the spirits tell us about the growth, spiritual growth, they tell us, here's the worst part. Here's even worse. I hope you guys stay with me. Some of the lives we grow the most are the hardest. Because when we go through things that are very uncomfortable, when we get out of our comfort zone in a life, and we're enduring tremendous situations, and we make it with balance, and God blessing us if we are capable of keeping love, we made it. We made it. We're strong. Nothing broke us. In fact, nobody can break a loving person. Nobody can break a loving person. We break because we are not loving yet. So, that's the gospel. The gospel is the recipe to give you that where you are right now is the best you can deal with, but giving you the perspective that is way bigger. You're way bigger than you think. What you're working right now is way more important than you do. And whatever challenge you might be facing right now, they're just that. They're just that. Our destiny is love. Our destiny is this divine love that's waiting for us. But it will require that we change, not others, because others we can control. That we change, that we connect with this divine, be part of this work of goodness, and working what? Manifesting love in our hearts. Which I wish was easier, but it's not. It's just the painful process of every day caring about others. It wouldn't be so easy to not do, right? What if we could just throw the book? Nah, don't care about it. Like go to Vegas. Forget about this. That's instinct. We still come from the animal side. But the strength is for us, what the gospel gives us is okay, stay in there. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be much better. And that's kind of the message we had for today. Let's transition. We're going to transition now for the passages. Guys, we're going to ask you guys to come here, the side. Can we get 3 chairs here?